Krishna. So, welcome back to the Bhagavad Gita Sarartha Varshani Tika. We have been discussing actually the overviews of chapter 1 to 6. We have completed chapter 1, and now we are on the chapter 2 overview. And in chapter 2, yesterday we saw the first 10 verses, the first 9 verses or 10 verses. I think first 10 verses we saw, where Arjuna uh, goes into a state of indecision and he's not able to decide, and then he surrenders because there is an ethical crisis. Yesterday we had that discussion between what is ethical crisis, when there are two types of dharma and both seem to be right, so it becomes difficult to decide. And then he surrenders to Krishna, and then Krishna, before that, Krishna speaks, but it is just like a pep talk because he's speaking as a friend. But now, Shishyasteham Shadi Mam Tvam Prapanna. Arjuna, Krishna is smiling now, because a friend has agreed to become a disciple. And then, to the lamenting Arjuna, Krishna starts speaking. So, this is the first section which we will try to cover today. Try to cover this and this section, and we'll take one section for one class for this and one class for this. So today we'll try to cover these two sections. Let us see how it goes. So Krishna now takes the position of the spiritual master. He is the Jagat Guru. And Sri Bhagavan Uvacha now starts speaking, and he starts giving the knowledge. Fight as the soul is eternal, compassion for the temporary body is ignorant and useless. Counters Arjuna's compassion argument. So this is from 11 to 30. श्रीभगवानुवाच असोचान् अन्वसोचस्त्वं प्रज्ञावादांश भाषसे गतासून् अगतासूंश्च नानुशोचन्ति पंडिता. The Lord said, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. Now, Krishna has actually taken the role of Bhagavan, and it is Sri Bhagavan. Of course, there is a lot of explanation of the Sri Bhagavan because just Bhagavan is also used to address great personalities like Narada, Sukadeva, Vyas. But the title Sri Bhagavan is reserved only to the Supreme Personality of Godhead or Vishnu Tattva. Because the Lord, with his Shaktis, especially his Antaranga Shakti, and the personified form is Lakshmi or Srimati Radharani. So the absolute truth with his energies, that's why that Sri Bhagavan is exclusively reserved to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Whereas other personalities also are addressed as Bhagavan, but never as Sri Bhagavan. Because they are powerful as Bhagavan, because they carry Bhagavan in their heart, they are addressed as Bhagavan. But Sri Bhagavan is only to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And now I'll just summarize what Vishwanath Chakra Thakur, because as I mentioned, we are studying Srila Vishwanath Chakra Thakur's commentary, and Vishwanath Chakra Thakur goes into the philosophical aspect also, but also he gives quite Rasika explanation. While lamenting for not what is not worthy of lamentation, Anvasocha asochayan. Anvasocha means you are lamenting for that what is not worthy of lamentation. And Arjuna is lamenting because of his Swajana Bandhavan. It is because of his attachment to his friends and relatives, and it has caused him that bewilderment. Hmm? And you discern that how I can kill Bhishma and Drona, who are like worshipable, you know, and I cannot fight with them. And actually, all these words, although he is speaking words of wisdom, but they are not wisdom. You are speaking like a pandita, but your pandita is not manifesting because you are lamenting. You're lamenting. Anvasocha asochan are speaking words of wisdom. Pragyavadamsha bhasase. And he has spoken Pragyavadamsha bhasase, especially, in the first chapter, that, his reasons to not fight, Kula Dharma, which is Sanatana, Kulashaya, Papa. But especially it refers to Vishwanath Chakra says 2.4 and 2.5, how can I kill my gurus, So the wise men, Pandita, do not lament. Na anusochanti, but you're continuously lamenting. Sochayanti means to lament, and anusochanti means continuously you're lamenting, which is not worth lamenting. So you're not a pandita. Indirectly, he's chastising. That's the first business of the spiritual master, to chastise the disciple, you know. So you don't have pragya. That's the intention, Actually, you don't have any wisdom. Because those who are pandita, they don't lament for gatasuna. Gatasuna means gata asun. I have, written here. Asu means life as, and asura, asu and ra. Ra means ramante, one who enjoys the life airs. So those who enjoy the life airs means enjoy bodily pleasure, senses, they are all asuras. So asura definition is having a very broad, meaning here. So it's not just like somebody who looks of a asuri mentality, but anyone who's trying to enjoy the senses is an asura. So gata asun means when the life hairs have left. That means when the gross body leaves. So the gross bodies are destructible by nature. So people who have wisdom, they don't lament. And agatasum cha. Agatansu cha means when the life hairs have not left. That means the subtle body is still there. But the subtle body stays on and goes to the next body until one attains liberation. So those who know the natures of these gross and subtle bodies, they don't lament, but you are continuously lamenting. And because you have no understanding of the eternal nature of the soul, you know, there is, the soul is beyond the gross and subtle bodies. Gata asun, agata asuncha. That's why there is no cause of lamentation. But you're lamenting and you're not a pandita in one sense, although Krishna is saying him as a pandita. And in the previous chapter, he had argued, that according to Manu Samhita or Vashishta Smriti, that those who are aggressors, they can be killed. But Manu Samhita says, that when there is a conflict between the Dharma Shastras and the Jnana Shastras, no, Artha Shastras and the Dharma Shastras, sorry. Artha Shastras, Dharma Shastras, then, the Dharma Shastras are superior. So I am speaking of high wisdom based on Dharma Shastra, they are not supposed to be killed. Artha Shastra, they are aggressors, they can be killed. But from the Dharma Shastra point of view, Ma himsavat sarva bhutani, one verse, Vishwanath Chakravarti quotes. So based on that, they are not supposed to be killed and they are our own relatives. But Krishna is speaking, now I am speaking Jnana Shastra. And this Jnana Shastra, the knowledge of the soul, is superior even to Artha Shastra and Dharma Shastra. So that's why a spiritual master is required. So now he goes further. Natva evayam jatu nasham natvam neme janadipa na chaiva na bhavishyamah sarve vayam atah param. Never have I not existed. Na tu eva aham jatu nasham. That means I always existed. And nor you, natvam. And then Krishna points out, nor these kings, na ime janadipa, all these kings, nor in the future, ataparam na cha eva, will they ever not exist. Sarve vayam na bhavishyamya. So what Krishna is trying to say that I existed in the past, I'm existing in the present, and I continue to exist in the future. You, Arjuna, existed in the past, you are existing now in the present, and you continue to exist in the future. Now, it refers to, here I refers to actually the Supreme Spirit. That is to be very clear, the super soul organ. And I refers to the individual soul. You know, maybe the bodies might change, For Arjuna in different Leelas, he might be Nar Narayan, now he is Arjuna and Krishna. But kings, they might be in different bodies. So they are also souls, you know. So they existed in the past, they continue to exist in the future, you know. So, this is what Krishna is saying. As Paramatma, I have always existed. I always continue to exist. And as Jivatma, you have always existed. So, the previous non-existence, it's not that the Jivas did not exist in the past and they were created in the present. It is called as Prag Abhava, you know. And it is not that the Jivas are existing now and the future, when the destruction of body, the Jivas cease to exist. That is called as Prag Dhamsha, that they'll stop continue to exist in the future. No, the Jivas are eternal. Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetana Nam. Further, text 13. Dehino asmin yata dehe kaumaram yavvanam jara tata dehantara prapti dhiras tatra na muhyati. As the soul, yata dehina, passes through boyhood, youth and old age, asmin kaumaram yavvanam jara dehe, so he attains another body at death. Tata de antara prapti. The wise are not bewildered by this. Dhira tatrana muyati. So when once body is there, we become affectionate because it is related to the soul, which is more dear to the self. And because of the relation of the body, the sons, brothers, relatives, they also become object of affection. And with relation to them, even the sons become the object of affection. So when the bodies perish, there will be lamentation. This is what is Arjuna's argument. So Krishna speaks. In the body belonging to Jiva, Dehina, one attains the stage starting from boyhood. After boyhood is destroyed, then there is youth. When youth is destroyed, then there is old age. In the same manner, one attains another body. Tata de antara prapti. One attains another body. One does not lament for the destruction of the objects of affection in boyhood and youth forms. So, just like, say the grandparents come to meet their son and daughter in law because there is a newborn baby, 1 year old or 2 year old, they come and then they celebrate the birthday. So, they're very happy. And then after 10, 12 years, they come and the child has grown into a youth now, 14, 15 years later, if they come. So, they'll not start lamenting, oh, where is that child? Where is that child? Because they understand that from boyhood, he has come to youth. Now he is in youth. So there is no need to lament, Arjuna. Similarly, the affection, actually, what we have is because of the soul, because the soul is very dear to the body. It's more dear to the self, not to the body, sorry, dear to the self. And similarly, one should not lament for the destruction of the object of affection, the body, which is also related to the soul. With the destruction of youth, there is old age. One does not lament. And with the destruction of, worn out bodies of Bhishma and Drona, they will attain new bodies. So you should become joyful. So the grandparents, they become joyful seeing their son grown. They don't lament. So Arjuna, there is no need to lament. So like that, Vishwanath Thakur gives a very Rasika explanation here. And it has philosophy, but more of a Rasika explanation. Then Arjuna might say, but because I am attached to the bodies of Bhishma and Drona, when their bodies are destroyed, I will still feel. One second, let me on the power. Yeah. I will still feel, lamentation. Then Krishna speaks this verse, tolerate this. Matra sparshastu kaunteya sitoshna sukha dukkada agamapaino nityaha tham stitikshvasva bharata. O son of Kunti, Kaunteya, the experience of the sense objects. Tan matra. Matra sparsha. There is senses and sense objects. When the senses contact sense objects, there is what? They give sensation. They give sensation of heat and cold and hot, happiness and distress, Sita Ushna Sukha Dukkada. Always temporary, anitya. They are appearing and disappearing. Agama, apayana. O Bharat, Bharata, tolerate these experiences of sense objects. Tam stitikshva. So it is true that I have shown indiscretion, Arjuna is saying, but my mind is producing nonsense, covered by lamentation, bewilderment, causing me suffering. So Krishna says, it is not the mind. It is also the functions of the mind in the form of senses. The skin comes in contact with, in the summer, when it is very hot, you would like to come in contact with the cold water. But in the winter, when it is cold, you would not like to come in contact. But still, you have to take bath in the winter also, especially not in the cities where you have all facilities of air coolers, AC, heaters, coolers. But in the traditional villages, you cannot have these. You have to, in the cold season, still go and take, a bath and tolerate the cold. Similarly, you'll have to tolerate the change of bodies of Bhishma and Drona for whom you have affection. And continue, just like you go and take bath and tolerate that. So continue to perform your dharma. And what is the result? Yam hina vetayante purusham purushashava samadukka sukham dhiram samrityattvaya kalpate. O best of the man, Purush Rishabha, the intelligent person, Dhiram Purusha, equal in happiness and distress. Sama dukkha sukham, who is not pained by these sense objects. Yam hi na vetayante ete. So the yam hi vetayante ete refers to tolerating Sita, Ushna, Sukha, Dukkha, all this what Krishna spoke in Bhagavad Gita 2.13. What is the result? He approaches liberation. Sa amritatvaya kalpate. So now Krishna in this verse is saying, practicing tolerance with the discernment, the experience of sense objects will, with the passage of time, not give distress. So by practicing tolerance with a discriminating intelligence, tolerating the dualities, then we will not experience distress. And when a person reaches this state, when he becomes sama to sukha and dukkha, that means he's become sense controlled, dhira. He is completely controlled his senses. Then his liberation is close for the atma. He is qualified for liberation. Sa amritatvaya kalpate. Now, Krishna in general has spoken about the eternal existence of the soul and the qualification to understand tolerance and what is the ultimate goal. What is the fruit of tolerance? That is liberation. Now he starts giving the knowledge from 2.16. Na sato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate satah, ubayorapi drushtanta, tvanayos tattva darshibi. There is no permanent existence for the body. Na bhavo vidyate. And no cessation of existence. Na abhava vidyate for the soul. So that which is asata, actually here, na asata should have come here. That which is asat, you know, it doesn't endure for long. But which is sat, which is eternal, nature of existence is eternal, that it it continues to exist. It doesn't cease. So the soul is eternal and the body is temporary, you know, and you cannot, you know, body is not eternal, so you cannot stop, the death of Bhishma. And those who see things in truth, Tattva Darshibi, see these conclusions. Anayo Anta Drishti. So the Anta Drishti means their drishti is so deep, they go deep in their contemplation and they can analyze the difference between matter and spirit. Matter is asata and spirit is sata. And matter, because it is asata, it has no permanent existence. It is there and it will vanish after some time. Whereas spirit is eternal and it will continue to exist. So the nature of these things, So here I mentioned bhava can mean nature of existence and bhava can also mean emotion. So here it is referring to this meaning. Sanskrit meanings are context based. So based on the context, the meanings change. So there are these two natures. The soul does not lament for and become bewildered by the body, asata, even though it is soul shelter, since the body has qualities opposite of that soul, because it is temporary. And there is no non-existence, abhava of the jiva, which is eternal, sata. The conclusion, anta of these two, the body and soul, has been seen by tears. So there is no need of lamentation because the body is a sata. It is going to perish. So why lament, And the soul is going to be eternal. So there is no need to, lament for Bhishma and others. Bodies will be destroyed. You need not lament. So that's what Krishna is trying to say in this. Avinashi tu tad vidhi yena sarvam idam tatam vinasham avyayasyasya na kaschit kartum arhasi. Vidhi, know that the soul, tad, by which the body is perverted. Yena sarvam idam tatam is indestructible. Avinashi. Vinashi means destructible. Avinashi is a prefix added and it gives a opposite meaning of vinash, destructible, indestructible. No one can destroy na kashit vinasham kartum arhati, that which is indestructible. So it's a very, very, now Krishna is clarifying what he has spoken in the previous verse. So he's going to the nature of, the soul, which is sata. He had mentioned na abhavo vidyate sata. So the sata nature he is going into in this verse now. Know that the jiva, tad, tad refers to the jiva, which is spread throughout the body. Sarvam idam tatam. So what is spread throughout the body is consciousness of the soul. The soul is there in the region of the heart and it is spread in the entire body. Just like the sun is there in one place and it spreads in the entire creation as sunshine. So like that, you have to know. Sarvam idam tatam, and it is spread as consciousness. And, the soul is tiny particle, balagra shatabhagasya, and we all know that from the Shruti statements, the dimension of the soul, But the soul has that power that it can spread its influence everywhere within the body. Please remember, within the body. Just like, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives the example of a herb or a drug, or gems. You can wear it in your finger and particular finger you wear and the influence spreads over the whole body. The effect. Or you take today even any allopathic medicine also, you just take the tablet in the mouth and it, immediately it goes in the bloodstream and immediately it acts. So this is the potency of a material thing. So what to speak of the potency of the soul, which can spread yena sarvam idam tatam in the body, but vinasham avayasis, but that soul, that consciousness cannot be destroyed. And sarvagata means that the soul can go everywhere in different bodies of devatas, animals, hellish planets, like that. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also gives another explanation. Avinashi tu. Tu means to differentiate. Tad now here refers to Paramatma. If here, you take it as, the in the in the previous verse, the body and the jiva, the body is temporary and it is asata, it will be destroyed, whereas the soul is eternal and it doesn't undergo any change. So body and soul are, described. So avinashi tu can also differentiate. Tad can now refer to Paramatma. And know this Paramatma, it is spread everywhere. Means Paramatma is everywhere. So the Atma along with the body and the Paramatma are mentioned. And this Paramatma is indestructible. You know? Yeah. And the two also distinguishes between the Atma and the Paramatma. Uh, the the Paramatma is different from the Jiva as well as matter. So like that, Vishnu Chakravarti gives a second explanation. It is a little technical. You know, to go into more detail, you'll have to go by the verse by verse discussion which we have with the commentaries. Now, further he explains about the soul. Antavanta ime deha nityayukta sharirina anashino apramayasya tasmad yudhyasya bharata. These, the bodies, ime deha, belonging to the eternal soul. Nityasya yukta sharirina. Sharir means the body. Sharirina means one who is residing in the body, which is indestructible. So what is indestructible? Is it the soul or the body? The soul. So it is referring that ultimately in this body there is the eternal soul, which is indestructible and apramayasya. It is very small. It is 1/10,000 of a tip of a hair. But actually it is a spiritual particle and it cannot be measured. It is immeasurable, in fact. Although some idea is given, are said to be temporary. Antavanta. The body is temporary. Therefore, do your duty. Fight, O Bharata. Yuddhasa Bharata. So, an analysis of matter and spirit is being done. Ya enam vetti hantaram yaschainam manyate hatam uboto na vijanito nayam hanti nahanyate. Those who think that the soul kills, yah vetti enam hantaram. The soul, you know, killed, you know, Arjuna's soul killed, Bhishma's soul, if you think like that. The soul cannot kill because the soul is eternal, and Bhishma's soul also cannot be killed because soul is eternal. What is killed is the body, you know. So those who think that the soul kills, and those who think that the soul is killed, oh, Bhishma's soul has died. No, Bhishma's body, which was temporary, which is always dead, it is temporary, is asata, that is killed. The soul continues to exist now in maybe a different body. So those who think that soul kills and those who think that the soul is killed, yah manyate enam hatam, do not know. Ubo to na vijanito. The soul does not kill nor get killed. Na ayam hanti na anyate. So, O Arjuna, you as a soul as well are neither the performer of killing nor the object of killing. So you cannot perform the act of killing. Actually, you know, killing is done by the body, which is an instrument, you know, the hand or the weapon which you hold in the hand. And what you kill is not the soul because the soul cannot be killed. What you kill is the body. But this doesn't mean that you can do violence. Just like, you can take a rod and you can hit a snake and you can tell, I have not killed the snake. The rod has killed the snake. But still you will be answerable. But here, this battle or this killing has been sanctioned by Krishna because this is Dharma Yuddha. Just like, the judge has condemned a murderer and to be hanged, and the executors execute. So that execution, person is, he's not liable. That's the point. The soul does not kill or get killed. Na ayam hanti, na anyate. And a very interesting explanation, he who thinks the jiva, enam, is the killer, that Arjuna is the killer of Bhishma and others. And he who thinks that the jiva is killed, that Arjuna is killed by Bhishma, are both ignorant. Uboto na vijanito. Janito means to know. Na vijanito means they don't know. You know. Therefore, what is the fear for? Infamy or ignorant people speaking that Arjuna killed his guru. So like that. So this in Upanishadic language, because the soul is very, very tiny, apramayasa, what it is to understand is difficult. So what it is not, by the neti niti principle, is being explained, and this becomes more evident, in the next verse. न, again, neti, न जायते म्रियते वा कदाचन, नायं भूत्वा भवितो वा न भूय, अजो नित्यः शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणः, न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे. So, न जायते. No, the soul has no birth. न म्रियते. No death. Oh, no birth, no death. That means it continues to exist in the present. Nayam Bhutva. It has it has continued to exist in the past. And Bhavita Vana Bhuya. And it continues to exist in the future. So the first line negates the possibility of birth and death for the Jiva in the present time. There is no birth and death of the Jiva. Na jayate na mriyate. And the second line negates birth and death in the past or in the future, because the soul is, neither born in the past, nor it is born in the present, nor it will be born in the future, because it is eternal. Aja. It is Aja, unborn, you know, Mm. in past, present, or future, you know, because it has no birth, it has no previous non-existence. There is no previous non-existence because it is always existing. Aparag bhava it is called. Prag bhava. It exists at all times. Shashvata. I am. That is in no time in past, present, or future. At no time when it will be destroyed. Dhamsa. That is why it is Nitya. It is eternal. And because the soul exists for a long time, maybe it has grown old. Purana. No. Although it is very old, it is Navayovanam. It is new because it doesn't undergo the six transformations. Na hanyate. Na hanyate means when the body is destroyed, is the soul destroyed? No. The soul is not destroyed. Hmm? It doesn't die. Anyamane sharire. Na hanyate. It is not destroyed when the soul is, but the body is destroyed. So that's how Neti Niti principle it is explained. Okay, so I'll just take a pause here to know if up till now you have any questions. Any questions, any clarifications you have about this first section from 2.11 to 2.20, you can say. If you have any questions, I can take up. Now I'll take from 2.21 to 2.30. If we have time, then we can take also the next section. Let us see. But do you have any questions up till now? Actually, I'm not so much in favor of going into overview explanations because many things you have to cut down. Always it is better to, especially the Gita philosophy, uh, you need to study in detail to really get the deeper understanding. But since, we are starting with the seventh chapter, overview is also important. That's why I'm taking. Okay, then if there are no questions, so then let's finish this section. Veda vinashinam nityam ye ainam ajam avyayam katam sa purusha partha kam ghatayati hantikam. He who knows, yah Veda, Veda means to know, and he knows what? Constantly. What he knows constantly? Enam, this soul is addressed as Enam, is what? Three things. Avinashinam, Aja, and Avyayam. So, one who knows constantly that the soul is indestructible, unborn, and eternal, kills whom? Kamhanti. And how? Katham. Whom does he cause others to kill? Ghatayati. And how? So, this is a very rhetoric question. Arjuna, neither you can kill anyone, nor I can instigate you to kill. Because ultimately, one who knows always that the soul is Avinashi, Ajam, and Avyam. Whom do I, Sapurusha, the Lord, cause to be killed by advising you to fight? And how do I cause anyone to be killed? And whom do you kill? And how do you kill? You cannot kill. I've killed my enemy. No. What is killed is the body. The body is always dead. You know, the soul, is just connected to the body because of, you know, desires and attachments, because of beginningless ignorance, avidya. And then the body is compared to a dress. Vamsansi jirnani yata vihaya navani granati naroparani tata sharirani vihaya jirnanya anyati samyati navani dehi. As a man, yata nara gives up old clothes, jirnani vamsansi vihaya, and accepts new ones. Aparani navani granati. So the soul, tata dehi, gives up the old bodies. Jirnani sharirani vihaya, and attains new ones. Anyani navani samyati. So, but still, I have affection for this, dress of Bhishma, and when it is killed, I will feel lamentation. So, it will cause me pain. Then Krishna says, if a person has worn out clothes and is given a fresh cloth, will you not be happy? You will rejoice. So Arjuna, Bhishma have all these old bodies. And when the bodies are replaced, they will get either heavenly bodies or spiritual bodies. So why should lament? That's the point. Now again he goes into the Niti principle. Nainam chindanti shastrani, nainam dahati pavaka, na chainam kledyantyaapo, na soshati maruta. So again, but when I attack Bhishma's body with, these weapons, there can be gross weapons made of earth or water or fire. Will the soul not be destroyed? So now weapons do not cut the soul. Na enam chindanti shastrani. Fire does not burn it because there are five weapons also. Na enam dahati pavaka. Water does not wet it. Na cha enam kledyantya apa. Apa is water. Wind does not dry it. Na soshati maruta. So these are the different kinds of weapons. Even today, there are, these missiles are all fire weapons. So there are different types of weapons, but Prabhupada says today water weapons are not known in today's world. You know, and there are weapons, there are astras, which use mantras, subtle weapons, which is not known in today's world, he says. So that is being explained that the soul cannot be destroyed. And because the soul cannot be destroyed by, you know, uh, what this shastra or fire or water or air, it is given name. Achhedoyam adayoyam akledyo shosha evacha nitya sarvagata snano achaloyam sanatana avyaktoyam achintoyam avikaroyam uchyate tasmadenam enam viditvenam nanu sochati sochitum arhasi. The soul cannot be cut. So because the soul cannot be cut, no? Chindanti is there, no? So the soul is called achedya. It cannot be dahati. So adhayoyam. Ayam means the soul. Nor be moistened or dried. Akledya shosha evacha. It is eternal. Ayam sanatana nitya. Traveling in all bodies, sarvagata. That means the soul can take all bodies in the 14 planetary systems. And stable, stanur, achala. So Stanu and Achala, both Vishwanath Chakra Thakur and Baldev Vidyabhushan explain that the soul has fixed qualities. The soul cannot be moved from its nature. That's why Achala. It's not that, the soul. The soul moves in different bodies, but the soul, you cannot move, uh, the soul cannot be moved from its, qualities. That's how it is. That it has a stable Sarupa and it is fixed in its qualities. That's the point. It is imperceptible, avyaktoyam, and only by the Vedic knowledge you can understand this. Pervading the body inconceivably, achintyoyam, and without changes. The body undergoes change, but the soul doesn't undergo change. Avikaroyam. Knowing it thus, tasmad enam viditvenam, you should not lament. Nanu sochanti arhasi. So, uh, repeating the statements, achedyoyam, adhayoyam, akledyo, which has already because spoken in the previous verse. Then achalo, avyakto, achintyo, avikaro. So whenever the souls are repeated, because these are very difficult to understand the subtlety of this concept of the soul. So repetition helps us to deeply understand the eternal nature of the soul. That's why Harer Nama, Harer Nama, Eva Kevalam, Kalo Nasti, Kalo Nasti, Eva Gatir Anyata. So anything which is repeated three times, it's just for making you clearly understand because it's not so easy to understand. And now, after having established this, now Krishna gives another side of the argument that even if you don't accept the eternality of the soul, you know, you think the soul is born and it dies, still you need not lament for the body. Atachainam nitya jatam nityam va manyase mritam tatapi tvam mahabhavo nainam sochati arhasi. If even if you think Ata cha manyase, that the soul is continually born and always dies. Evam nitya jatam va nityamritam. It continuously is born and this is the materialistic argument, you know. Still, you should not lament. Even in such a case, you should not lament. Almighty Armed. Nobody laments, uh, for a body which is born and it dies. It's just lump of matter. Why would you lament for a lump of matter and stop your Satriya duties? But here, Krishna is presenting the materialistic vision, but his emphasis is that although if you don't follow the principles of Shastra, which is called as orthodoxy, orthodoxy means the principles, the doctrines of philosophy. Yeah. And based on the doctrine and the philosophy, you have practices, which is called as orthopraxy. The practice is based on the doctrines of the philosophy. Krishna is emphasizing still you practice your dharma, although you might not accept the Vedic version. But you, Arjuna, you are a Mahabhava. You're born, you're the son of Kunti. You might not subscribe to this, but even if you subscribe to this materialistic vision philosophy, still there is no need to lament. And in two verses, he clarifies Jhatasya he dhruvo mrityu dhruvam janma mritasya cha tasmad apariharyarte natvam sochitum. For what is born, death is certain. Jatasya hi mrityu dhruvam. Dhruvam means certain. Anything which is born, there is death. For what is dead, birth is certain. Mritasya janma dhruvam. Therefore, tasmat, since both are unavoidable, apariharyarte, you should not lament. Natvam sochitum arhasi. So the body is born, you know, and then the body dies. And after death, again, there is birth. So then why is there, you know, the body is born out of karma, and when the karmas they are depleted, then you die. And because of the karmas you have done in this life, you have to reap the benefits in another body. So we'll take birth again. So one who is born is certain to die, and one who dies is certain to be born. So since birth and death are unavoidable, apariharate, do not lament. Again, this is based on this philosophy, then he mentions अव्यक्त्या अव्यक्त्यादीनि भूतानि व्यक्तमध्यानि भारत अव्यक्त निदधान्येव तत्र का परिदेवना. Living entities are invisible in the beginning. Avyakta adini bhutani, manifest in the middle. Vyakta madhyani bharata, and invisible in the end. Avyakta nidhananyeva. What is there to lament in this? Tatra ka paridevana. So before birth, the body is unmanifest, but it is there in a subtle form. You know, along with the soul, there is a subtle body when all the impressions are there. And then it manifests from birth till death, you know, and then at death, it again unmanifest, till a certain period where you get next body. So this is at individual, at a universal level, Mahavishnu's level, the souls are there in the body of Mahavishnu. They are Avyakta. And when the creation begins, they become Vyakta. You know, the karmas are there in the subtle form, in the clouds stored in the Mahatattva. And then they, according to their propensity to enjoy, they are given different bodies in the 14 planets. And then when Mahavishnu inhales, the bodies are unmanifested. So tatra ka paridevana. So that's the point Krishna is making. Now this is a very amazing verse. आश्चर्यवत् आश्चर्यवत् पश्यति कश्चिदेनम् आश्चर्यवद् वदति तथैव चान्य आश्चर्यवच्चैनम् अन्यः शृणोति श्रुत्वाप्येनं वेद न चैव कश्चित्. Some realize Kashit Pashyati, the soul with amazement. Pashyati means to see. Some see the soul with amazement, it is actually. I don't know why. Vishnu Thakur's, some realize. 1 second. Just give me a minute. Because in Vishnu Thakur's translation, some see the soul as amazing it is. I'm opening the Veda base just to check whether it is Prabhupada's translation or there has been some mistake. Some look at the soul amazing, but how then some realize has come here and let me see the edition because that was a old edition which was translated by Bhanu Maharaj, and maybe this is the printed edition where all the changes have happened. Maybe in the old edition it is like that. Let us see. Just give me a minute, please. Yeah, somehow why then? I don't know why this translation has come in here. This is maybe Baldev Vidyabhushan's translation. I don't know how it has happened. Some mistake has happened. Actually, this is Vishwanath Thakur's translation. I will tell someone to look into it. Maybe by mistake must have happened. Yeah. Some see the soul with amazement. Ascharyavad pashyat kashyadenam. Others speak of it in amazement. Ascharyavad vadati tataiva chanya. And others hear about it with amazement. Ascharyavat chainam anya shunoti. Like you're now hearing about the soul. And you must be all amazed. Although you hear so much about the soul. Oh, sorry, I'm not sharing. 1 second. Some hear about the soul with amazement. Hearing about it, Shunoti, speaking about it, Vadati, seeing it, Pashyati, still no one knows it at all. Shutvapi enam Veda na cheva kashchit. It's not so easy. So Arjuna says, what a astonishing thing you're describing. It is so astonishing that I've been enlightened by you. But my lack of discernment doesn't go away. Yes, the Atma is very amazing, astonishing, you know. And so that's why he uses this soul, is completely, you know. So only by hearing from the pure spiritual master, one can understand this science of the soul. Otherwise, without the mercy of the Acharya, it's not possible. Now, what do you want me to do? देहि नित्यम अवध्योयम देहे सर्वस्य भारत तस्मात् सर्वाणि भूतानि न त्वं शोचितुम अर्हसि. So now he concludes, what we want me to do. He speaks in two verses, this and the next verse. O Bharata, the soul in the body of all living entities. Ayam dehi sarvasya deha can never be killed. Nityam avadhya, it cannot be killed. Therefore, You should not lament. Natvam sochita marisi for any living being. Sarvani bhutani. That means you should do your duty. So that completes this section, which is called as Sankhya, analysis between matter and spirit. Now, any questions you have up till now about this, what we discussed? Any questions, any clarifications? No questions. So it's 8:30 already. I'll just take 5-10 minutes because we started at 7:35. I'll just finish this section. This is a small section, 31 to 38. But okay. Sakama Karma Yoga, actually, it is what? It's basically first application of Atman. Fight by doing your prescribed duties, you will enjoy. Counters Arjuna's and enjoyment argument. स्वधर्मम् अपि चावेक्ष्य न विकम्पितुम् अर्हसि धर्मादियुज्यात् श्रेयण्यत् क्षत्रियस्य न विद्यते. Even considering your own duties, swadharmam api cha aveksha. You should not be fearful. Na vikampitum arhasi. There is nothing better for the warrior. Kshatriyasya anyat shraya na vidyate than to fight for the right cause. Dharmad hi yuddhat. Hmm? So, because the soul cannot be destroyed, you should not fear killing avadya, because the soul is avadya dehi. You know? And from considering your dharma point of view, swadharmam api cha aveksha. Aveksha means to consider. You know, you should not vikampitum, you should not deviate from your kshatriya duty, because this is the dharma yuddha. You know, so that is what, now Krishna is motivating Arjuna based on the swadharma of his subtle body, because the nature is sold in the nature is present in the subtle body. But ultimately, he'll take the higher level, which is the swadharma of the soul, which is the jaiva dharma, which is pure devotional service. So, and subtle body, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, these are designations, upadhis of the body only, subtle identifications. But the soul is what? Nam Vipro Na. All that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, na? I don't know that verse. I don't recollect and remember that verse fully. So based on that, I am what? Gopi Bhartur Padkamalayo Das Dasanudas. Jiver Swarupoy Krishna. So this kind of duty performing based on the Swadharma of the body is, with results to attain Swarga. So based on that level, Atmagyan, he is, you know, giving that knowledge for Arjuna to act. So I mentioned here the Swadharma based on the body, Swabhav, directed by Vedas is Karma Kanda, and Swadharma directed by Vedas for self-realization is Nishkam Karma Yoga. When you no more desire material fruits and you desire to realize the self and attain liberation, then it is Nishkam Karma Yoga, then it is yoga. And the Swadharma of the soul is Jaiva Dharma, which is Bhakti Yoga. यदृच्छया चोपपन्नं स्वर्गद्वारम् अपावृतं सुखिनः क्षत्रियाः पार्थ लभन्ते युद्धम् ईदृशम्. Happy are the warriors, Sukhina Kshatriya Partha, who obtain such a battle, Labante Idrasham Yudham, which comes just without effort. Yadrichaya cha vapannam. So on its own, this battle has come, and which opens the doors to heaven. Swargadwaram apavritam. You know, those, even more than those who attain victory, those who die on the battlefield, they attain what? Happiness in Swarga. So Bhishma and others, they'll be more happy in Swarga. You know. So even if without doing Karma Yoga, one can attain Swarga through a battle without any obstructions. Apavritam. Now he says, if you don't perform, in 4 verses he speaks what will be the consequences. Atachetvam dharmam sangramam na karishyasi tata swadharmam kirtim cha hitva papam avapsasi. If you do not take part in this righteous war, imam dharmam sangramam, giving up your kshatriya duties, swabhava, and fame, swadharmam kirtim cha hitva, you will instead reap sin. Tata papam avapsasi. Arjuna thought, by fighting, I will incur sin. Kulashaya, kritam dosham, all that he said. But if he doesn't fight, he'll incur sin. That's what in the Varnashram, the that what is activities which will purify my existence and make me pious, and what activities I should avoid, which will cause sin. That is the main consideration. But in bhakti, there is, anukulasa sankalpa, pratikulasa varjanam. What is favorable of Sharanagati, what is not favorable. So here, based on that, you will attain sin if you don't perform your duty. Then, अकीर्तिं चापि भूतानि कतिष्यन्ति ते वयाम संभावितस्य के चाकीर्ति मरणादपि मरणादति रिच्यते. They will speak incessantly. Avyayam means not imperishable. Continuously they will speak. Katishyanti of your infamy, akirtim. For one was a great position, sambhavitasya, dishonor, akirti is worse than death. So based on, he's motivating based on Kshatriya principles because they value fame, Akirti was mentioned. Kirtim, Swadharmam Kirtim, Hitva Papam. And if you get Akirti, people will speak about it and, you know, it will be worse than death for you. Maranadati Richati, it is worse than death. And Arjuna might think, no, no, I am out of compassion leaving this battlefield, you know, but they will not consider, they'll think that you have left this battlefield out of fear. So that is expressed in this verse. Bhayadranadupaриtam mamsante tvam maharata esham cha tvam bahumata bhutva yasasi lagavam. The great warriors, Maharata, by whom you are regarded highly, esham tvam bahumata bhutva, will now gain insignificance. Lagavam yasasi will think, mamsyante, that you have abandoned the battlefield out of fear. Even if you think out of compassion you're leaving, but the great Maharathas like Duryodhana will think you fled out of fear, They will not see the other reason, and strong bonds of friendship will not be considered. They will speak ill words. Avacha vadam shabahun vadishyante tavahita nindantas tava samartyam tato dukkataram nukim. They will speak tava ahita vadishyanti. Many unspeakable words about you. Avacham vadam shabahun. Oh, Arjuna, Hijada, Clybium ran out of the battlefield, criticizing your abilities. Nindanti tava samartyam. What could be more painful? Tato dukkataram dukim. So Krishna is inciting his ego as a Kshatriya. Kshatriyas have their ego, and for them, the words, to glorify them, fame and all. This is what is really for them matter. So based on that, Krishna is speaking. And now he concludes, Hato va prapsasi swargam, jitva va bhokshase mahim, tasmaduttishta kaunteya, yudhyaya krita nishchaya. Being killed, you will attain heaven. Hato va prapsasi swargam. Being victorious, you will enjoy the earth. Jitva va bhokshase mahim. Therefore, rise, O son of Kunti, tasmaduttishta Bharata, and fight with determination. Yudhyaya krita nishchaya. So, victory, swarga. Sorry, defeat means he dies, he gets Swarga, victory. And he survives, he gets Earth, that is also victory. But previously, Arjuna was not able to decide because if I win, I lose because all my relatives will kill. And if I die, that's also worst. If I lose, that's also worst. So it was a lose-lose situation. Krishna turned it into a win-win situation. So the motivation is desire for enjoyment. So this is the first application of karma kanda. So the next verse and 39 verse are connected, so that I will take up tomorrow. So any questions, any clarifications you have up till now, what we have discussed? Anyone has any questions? You can raise your hands. Any questions, any clarifications? Okay, so then tomorrow we will take up this important section, which is a very important section which you should understand because that is the connection to all the fourth, fifth, and sixth chapters. And ultimately, there is a parallel in Bhakti also, which we will be studying in the seven chapters. So, like that, it's very important. So tomorrow we'll spend more time discussing 39 to 47. Let us see how much we can go through. Thank you very much. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भगवद गीता की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय. हरे कृष्ण.